So we're back with lesson 1, part 3. We've built our first PHP page, and we've been looking at sort of the differences between single and double quotes, how they work. Now, I want to also show you the importance of both the PHP tags as well as our PHP file extension. So I'm just going to make a change here. You don't have to change your file. But what would happen if I ran this page, if I ran it, but I didn't have the PHP tags on it? So you notice the colors change a lot. What's this going to look like in the browser if I refresh things now? What kind of output are we going to get? Okay, Twani says, yeah, we're just going to get plain text. It's just going to get treated like HTML. So if I refresh, it just displays all my code. So any PHP code you write, it has to be in those PHP code blocks. Otherwise, it just doesn't get interpreted. It just gets treated like literal text. So I'm going to make another file. Again, you don't have to do this, but I'm just going to show you by example. I'm going to highlight, I'm going to copy all my code. I'm going to create the exact same file, but this time I'm going to use an HTML extension. I've got the exact same code in two files, but one of them's got a PHP extension, one's got an HTML extension. And now if I try and load my sample.html, notice we get the same issue, that the PHP code doesn't actually get interpreted and execute. It just gets treated like literal text. So all this code gets displayed to the screen, and all the PHP, even the PHP tags, it actually gets sent to the browser. So this is dangerous. Why is this potentially dangerous? To have our PHP code visible in the page source. Because it leaks all the methods and variables from the back end. Yeah, other users and companies can see it. So we might have things like our database connection in here, or any logic algorithms we have, for processing passwords. Yeah, all kinds of security issues. So we're not going to make any HTML pages in this course. Everything we do is going to have a PHP extension. Now, I do also want to show you the importance of running our PHP code through a web server. So we've served it from our running Apache server, but I also want to show you the other difference in how these HTML and PHP pages get treated. Right? So if I go to my file system, I could just open my HTML page with my browser and it opens. What if I try and do this with a PHP page? I just right-click it and try and open it. So in this case, I'm going to open it in my browser. Just pick Firefox. So notice if I open a PHP file using a file path, the code doesn't run. So we've gone around, we've bypassed the web server here. We're just directly trying to open the PHP file, and in this case, the code doesn't run, and again, it's visible. This is the exact same file. Right? This is the same file, but when I serve it from the web server, the code executes, and the PHP is hidden from the browser. So this is why we needed to install XAMPP, why we need a web server. Because the web server interprets and processes our PHP code, translates and outputs any HTML. If we try and open PHP files directly without a web server, they don't work. And our code can be compromised. So this is why we installed XAMPP. So every week when you come to class, First thing we're going to do is open up XAMPP and start the web server. Now, you don't need to leave it running after class, but we'll need it every week in order to build our PHP Tunes site. We always need a web server to process that PHP script. We're going to build one more simple file today. I'm going to make one more file, which I will call Phpinfo. And I'm going to add the same kind of HTML, doc type. So just like our basic HTML template. So this is just looks like a standard HTML page. We're actually only going to add one line here. So when we install PHP, which gets installed automatically when you install the XAMPP bundle, it comes with a whole bunch of built-in functions. And one of them is called Phpinfo. And it gives us information about the PHP configuration on our server. So we can just call, and you can see I've got my code hinting in Visual Studio Code. I'm not sure if Adam has this. There might be a setting or a plugin you can add. So I called Phpinfo. It has an optional parameter, which I will omit. So I was going to call Phpinfo and see what this function outputs. So it's color-coded in yellow in Visual Studio Code because it's not our own user-defined function. It's built into the PHP language. So now I'm going to go to my browser. I'll put the code back up in a second. We'll just try it out. And when I call Phpinfo, this little function gives us all kinds of info about my server environment, compiler, all kinds of stuff. My web server version, the port we're running on, the root of Apache where our web server is, file paths, my IP address. So all kinds of info just from this one little function. So we will use a bunch of other functions that are built in the PHP library. Okay, yes, Dominic. So the way to do it is, are you using Visual Studio Code or using a different editor? Yeah, so thanks. Andrew posted the extension. The link is there. You can also find it here. If you go to extensions and search for PHP, I added this one, this PHP IntelliFence. So it does code hinting for PHP. Yeah, it's great. This is built in, this kind of tools are built in if you're using PHP Storm. The code hinting is automatic. In Visual Studio Code, you have to install an extension for it. And then it gives you those kinds of hints. How do you run it? You just load the page in your browser. And that function runs automatically. So I just browsed to localhost /phptunes, thanks Mike, /phpinfo. It loads the page. And our code is procedural. So once it hits this line, that code just executes. And yeah, you just make sure, obviously, your server needs to run, right? If I stop my server, it'll try to load the page and it says, I can't find that connection, right? Server's offline. Start it up, goes green, and we're back and running. Okay, so we're not going to go too code heavy today. That was all we really wanted to do, was just kind of get our feet wet, start to get comfortable with the editor and a little bit of the basic syntax. So we're going to stop for today. I will upload, WebEx takes a little while to convert the videos to MP4, typically within the hour or so, I should be able to upload. So I will upload the videos, and here is your checklist for this week. So make sure you introduce yourself in the forum. Most of you have done this. You should have participated in the PHP research activity. Most of you have done this already. Installed XAMPP and created your first PHP page. Your quiz will be available at 3 o'clock today. It's not due until Sunday at midnight. The other thing, again, I might request, if you go to your WebEx profile in your browser, which you can get to from here, if you sign in with your whatever account you use to sign into WebEx to, either your Lakehead Google account or your Office 365 account, whichever one you're using. I'm not requiring it, but if you go into your profile, you can actually add an avatar here. And most of your instructors are going to be using WebEx. It'd be nice to upload a photo so that if we actually make it back to class, I actually know what you look like. You're not just a name on a screen. And that way, when you log into WebEx, your picture actually shows. It also makes it a little more personal, as opposed to just seeing names on the screen. So I can't require you to do it, but I would recommend having an actual photo of yourself, and same on your GitHub profile. Again, this helps me start to learn who you are. And hopefully we're going to be back in a classroom together soon. Even if we're not, it makes the online environment, I think, just a little bit more personal, that we're not just names on a screen, that I can get to see who you are. Especially since we don't really use web cameras in the class. Okay, so that's all you need to do for next week. Hope the rest of your classes this week are good. And if you've got questions, you can book an office hours appointment or shoot me an email. Okay, so have a great week. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next Monday.